Welcome back to the archive of Maxmillian. If you are tuning in right now, you know what you're here for. Something a little different.
A deep dive.
A very deep dive. We are continuing our excavation of the novel I Suffer So They Won't. We're stripping back all the layers, the lore, the mechanics, the psychology, one chapter at a time.
And the energy around this has been, well, just incredible.
It really has.
And we should probably remind everyone right at the top, especially if you're new here, this isn't just us spinning theories in a vacuum.
No, not at all.
This channel, these deep dives, we have a pretty significant, I'd say, unfair advantage.
An unfair advantage, I like that.
We're assisted by the author himself, Jenner FP.
Which is huge. It completely changes the vibe. I mean, when we talk about how magic works or some hidden bit of history, we're not just guessing.
Exactly. We're not reading tea leaves.
We're basically working from the blueprints. It's the ultimate insider access.
It is. It lets us get to the intent behind all the chaos.
Yeah.
And today we are locking our focus exclusively on Volume 1, Chapter 1. The title alone just sets the tone. The Master's Failure.
The Master's Failure. It sounds so ominous, doesn't it?
It really does.
Just a quick logistical note for everyone, especially the returning archivists. Before we get into all the grim details, if you missed our breakdown of the prologue, that's available as a separate source.
It's in the archive.
Yeah, we're not going to relitigate the whole history of Gadriel today because, wow, do we have a lot of ground to cover right here.
We do. The story moves fast. And just a reminder for those following along live, these chapters are updating daily, usually around 11:00 p.m. Philippine time.
So get comfortable.
Or maybe get uncomfortable, considering what we're about to discuss.
Yeah, nightly appointment with pain is probably the most accurate way to put it. Okay, let's unpack the Master's Failure.
Let's do it.
On the surface, if you just skim it, it's this high-octane war story. It's action-heavy, fast, things are exploding. But if you look closer, it's really a brutal lesson in arrogance.
It absolutely is. It's a case study on the cost of power when you think you're the smartest person in the room.
Exactly. The difference between intelligence and wisdom and, the price other people pay when a leader confuses the two.
Well said. But before we get to the bloodshed, we have to orient ourselves. The timeline here is crucial. We've just had a massive jump.
Massive is an understatement. The prologue felt like ancient history. Now the text says we are 5 years before the Black Spire War.
And if we do the math, based on the notes we have, we've jumped approximately 295 years forward from Gadriel and the prologue.
Almost 3 centuries.
That is a long time for a wound to fester. The world has changed. And remember that prophecy from the prologue. One turned to death to bring life. The other drank death to stop it.
Right. We know Gadriel was the first one. He became the heretic lich to save his daughter.
So naturally, you start Chapter 1 looking for that second guy, the one who drank death. Is he here? Is he running the show?
And the answer?
Looking at the source material, it's a definitive no. That figure is not on the board yet.
Interesting.
Instead, we get this character named Aether. And I think it's important to clarify his role right away. Usually, Chapter 1, that's your main protagonist, right? The hero of the journey. But according to the blueprints, Aether isn't the main protagonist of this series.
That's such a fascinating choice, structurally. So this is an origin story. But it's the origin story of a mentor figure.
Exactly. We're seeing the old wise master way before he was wise.
And way before he was a master.
Oh, yeah. We're seeing him when he was young, stupid, and, frankly, a liability to everyone around him.
Liability is putting it politely. He's in the old quarter, his squad's cut off, and they are fighting enemies the text calls heretics. That word has to be intentional. It just jumps right off the page.
Oh, absolutely. It connects directly back to the prologue. Gadriel became a heretic lich. Now, 300 years later, we have an entire faction called heretics swarming the city.
So Gadriel's personal tragedy didn't stay personal.
It metastasized. It turned into a movement or a curse or a war.
Terrifying. So the history has literally become a present-day nightmare. You've got these heretics on all sides, and trapped in the middle is a squad called the Blazing Vials, and leading them, or misleading them, is Aether.
Let's profile young Aether, because if you're picturing some wise old alchemist in a cozy hut, just delete that image.
Right.
This Aether is a war alchemist. He is arrogant, he's wild-eyed, and he is quite literally high on his own supply.
The text mentions a mild stimulant mist running inside his mask, and the description of the side effects is just visceral. The edges of his vision are fraying. He's seeing the gray stone of the old quarter shimmering with this oily violet light.
That visual distortion is so key to his headspace. It's not just a drug, it's a filter. He's seeing the world through this lens of power and paranoia. He hears these static-filled whispers telling him his squad leader, Lyra, is weak.
That the world is beneath his genius.
Yes, the stimulant is just feeding his ego, validating every single one of his worst impulses. It's like a chemical yes man, telling him exactly what he wants to hear.
And that sets up the conflict perfectly. You have Lyra, the squad leader, who is grounded in reality. Her shield is splintered, they're boxed in, and she's screaming for a retreat route. We need a retreat route now!
And Aether's response. This is the line that defines the entire chapter.
I am the route.
Chilling, isn't it? In a superhero movie, that's the hero line. The music swells.
But here, it's terrifying.
Because he's wrong.
He's delusional.
It's the peak of hubris. He ignores a direct command because he believes his alchemy transcends strategy. He thinks he can brute force reality with chemistry.
I am the route implies that he is the solution, that just by being there, the tactical disadvantage is gone.
And I think it's safe to say Aether is going to regret that line for the rest of his life. That line is the tombstone for his youth.
Absolutely. So he declares himself the route, and he unleashes his tactics, the blazing vials. He's throwing jellied fire, but because of the drugs, he doesn't see burning enemies.
He sees golden birds seeking the heat.
That hallucination of beauty masking destruction is so telling. He's completely detached. But the real horror isn't the fire. It's what he does to his own squad, to his heavy infantryman, Rennick.
This is where the technical mechanics of the world really shine, and where that insider info becomes so crucial. Rennick is their tank. The text says he's already on a potion called Bull's Strength.
Because he's already redlining.
He's at his biological capacity. And Aether wants to stack more on top of that. A berserker brew and an imperfect draft.
And Lyra, the squad leader, she knows exactly what that means. She screams that stacking those will burst Rennick's heart. She's looking at biological reality.
The hardware limitations of the human body.
Right. And Aether's response is just, limits are for the uninspired.
It sounds so profound, doesn't it? Like something a visionary would say. But here, it's a death sentence.
And poor Rennick, he's addicted to the power Aether gives him. He just screams back, it's glory! And he drinks it.
And this leads us to a really crucial distinction in the magic system of this world. In the prologue, we saw Velma suffer a mana fracture. That was from overcasting, pushing magic too hard.
The external circuit blew.
Exactly. Here, with Rennick, it's not magic failure, it's biology failure.
So the author's notes clarify this. Alchemy isn't magic in the traditional sense, it's chemistry and physiology. It acts like a debt.
A debt, yes. This is overdosage. It's the alchemical equivalent of overcasting. You aren't breaking a mana pool, you are breaking the human vessel. The body just can't sustain it.
So Rennick drinks, and the transformation it's gruesome. Muscles swell, skin goes from red to this violent, bruised purple.
For 10 seconds, they are magnificent, unstoppable. The beast inside stirs.
10 seconds of godhood, that's the trade. And Aether watches this, and he thinks he's a genius. He thinks he's hacked the system.
But then the bill comes due.
And the end of those 10 seconds, man, that description is going to stick with me. Rennick freezes. The purple flesh turns black. And then, the scream.
The text is so specific. It was not a war cry. It was a scream. A single, high-pitched shriek as his organs and veins just tore apart.
A statue of agony. He died standing up. His muscles were so locked they couldn't even collapse.
That scream is the turning point. Until that noise, Aether was in a fantasy of golden birds and glory. That scream shatters the hallucination. It's the root of his trauma.
So when we think about the man Aether becomes, the mentor, he probably retires because he never wants to hear a sound like that again.
It's a brutal wake-up call, but the nightmare isn't over. The heretics are still there. They surge forward. And this is where the master's failure becomes complete.
Right, because now Lyra and the rest of the squad have to make a choice. Aether created a dead end. He killed their tank, but instead of leaving him, they charge.
Not to win. Winning is off the table. They charge to save Aether from his own mistake.
They die for his arrogance.
That's the heavy hitter. Lyra takes a spear in the back, and the text describes her final look at Aether. Not anger, not hatred.
Cold, final disappointment.
That is so much worse than anger. Anger is a fight. Disappointment. That just implies he failed a fundamental test of character.
She died knowing her alchemist was a fool.
And Aether, he runs, he survives, but he's not getting away unscathed. The text says he's suffering from psychosis now, a direct side effect of his own near overdose on that stimulant mist.
We should highlight the mechanics here. The rule of this alchemy seems to be that when you near overdose, you have to rest. If you keep pushing, the cost is irreversible psychosis or death.
And Aether is right on that razor's edge.
His heartbeat is a jagged rhythm. He says the ground feels like a field of teeth. The paranoia is fully setting in.
He pushed his squad too far, and he pushed himself too far. And I think this is where we see the birth of the mentor. In the mud, amidst the smoke. The climax isn't a victory, it's an act of surrender.
He throws his offensive reagents, his potions, his life's work into the mud.
That is such a powerful symbol. Those vials were his identity as a war alchemist. They were his belief that he could control the battlefield, that he was the route.
And by throwing them away, he's admitting defeat. He realizes alchemy is a debt, and he just paid the highest possible price with other people's lives.
He traded his friends' lives for 10 seconds of glory and a lifetime of regret. The text says he learned what failure truly sounds like.
And failure sounds exactly like Rennick's scream.
It's the death of the arrogant genius and the painful birth of the humble mentor. He survives, but he's broken, hallucinating, and carrying the weight of an entire squad.
It really makes you wonder, how does a man who thinks, I am the route, recover from being the cause of the dead end? What does he do next?
That's the beauty of this origin story. We know he becomes a mentor, but now we know why. He's not teaching people how to be powerful. He's probably teaching them how to survive their own power.
He's teaching them limits.
Because he learned that limits aren't for the uninspired. Limits are for the living.
Limits are for the living. That's a fantastic way to put it. This chapter was a masterclass in establishing stakes. We're not just dealing with magic battles, we're dealing with consequences that don't just go away.
Exactly. And it sets a tone. If this is the backstory, the main story is going to be incredibly heavy. Mistakes are fatal, and magic is just a different kind of mortgage on your life.
Now, I want to circle back to the timeline just for a second. We're 5 years out from the Black Spire War. A war is coming. Aether is broken before the main war even starts.
It puts him in a fascinating position. Most heroes are forged in the war. Aether is entering the war already shattered.
He's a veteran of failure before the real conflict begins.
Which suggests that when the Black Spire War hits, Aether won't be the one charging in with Shelleyed fire. He'll be the one in the back, terrified, trying to stop the next generation from making his mistakes.
It reframes the whole grumpy old mentor archetype. Usually they're grumpy because they've seen too much.
Aether's going to be grumpy because he caused too much. It's guilt, not just weariness.
Oh, wow. I never thought of it that way. He was mirroring the enemy he was trying to destroy.
He was, and that's why he failed. He tried to out-heretic the heretics.
This adds a whole new layer to his survival. He didn't just survive a battle, he survived, what, a moral event horizon?
He looked into the abyss waved back, and his squad paid the price for him to blink.
Which makes Lyra's sacrifice even more poignant. She wasn't just saving a soldier, she was saving a man who had lost his way. That look of disappointment, she saw what he was becoming.
And she died to give him a chance to be something else.
Cold, final disappointment. It just grounds the fantasy. We love high fantasy for the fireballs, but the moments that stick are the human ones.
Yeah, the failure of leadership, the realization that your boss is incompetent and it's going to cost you your life.
It's workplace toxicity turned lethal.
Aether was the toxic manager from hell, armed with explosives.
So as we wrap this up, we're left with a survivor who is psychologically shattered, physically exhausted, and carrying the guilt of a massacre.
And he has 5 years to pull himself together before the Black Spire War.
Which is not a lot of time to fix a field of teeth mental state.
And considering he's dealing with psychosis, the recovery's going to be ugly. I wouldn't be surprised if the next time we see him, he's not practicing alchemy at all.
He threw the vials in the mud. He might have sworn it off entirely.
Until, of course, the plot demands he pick it up again. The tragedy of the mentor. You can never truly escape your nature.
This chapter gave us so much to chew on. Before we sign off, I think this raises a really important question for everyone listening. We've been pretty hard on Aether, rightfully so, but I want to play devil's advocate.
Go for it.
The situation was dire. They were cut off, overwhelmed. Do you think Aether's arrogance, that belief that he was the root, was necessary to survive in any way? Or was this tragedy completely avoidable?
Would Lyra's retreat have worked if he had just listened?
Exactly. Was his suicide run actually the only reason anyone survived, even if it was just him?
That's the big what if.
It's the question of results versus intent. He survived. But was he the route to survival or just the route to destruction? We really want to hear your thoughts. Drop a comment below and let us know whose side you're on, Aether's chaotic genius or Lyra's grounded pragmatism.
I have a feeling Lyra's going to get a lot of votes today.
I think you're right. But maybe there's an Aether apologist out there who sees the method in the madness. We want to hear from you, too.
Just maybe don't use the stimulant mist before you comment.
Good advice. Keep your vision clear. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Archive of Maxmillian. If you liked this deep dive and want to keep decoding the story with us, please subscribe and hit that notification bell.
Chapters are updating daily, so we'll be back very soon.
We will. Until then.
Watch your limits.
See you in the next deep dive.